Buying performance doesn't happen very often. There's few times that you can spend money and immediately feel the speed increase on the bike and then even see it in the results. But that is what I'm going to talk about today. There are a couple parts that I've bought throughout the years and put on the Sherco that I have felt an immediate increase in speed, performance, which then I saw in the results. So that's what we're going to talk about today, but we're also going to break down why I think those parts did what they did for me, so that maybe there's a way that you could find that same increase in performance. The first part that we're going to talk about is the Astra Offroad Handlebars. I bought these bad boys back in 2018, close to when I originally got this Sherco. The bars that I have on right now are 22 millimeter rise. These bars are still awesome. For a quick reference point, the Rinthal 999s have a rise of 42 millimeters, and the 996s have a rise of 53 millimeters. So these bars are very low. Let's talk about why they're this low. The Astra handlebars are this low specifically for riding position. They call it posture-centric handlebars. And in the diagram that they have on their website, you can see how the stock handlebars are a lot higher, a lot taller, and so they put you in a much more upright riding position. With the Astra handlebars, which are a lot lower, they have a lot less rise, they automatically kind of pull you forward into a more aggressive riding position. Now, what does this do? This puts you into a better position to have control of the bike, because more of your weight is over the front wheel to let the bike move underneath you because of where your weight is positioned over the handlebars. When I put these bars on back in 2018, I immediately felt the riding position that they were talking about. I definitely felt more pulled, if you will, placed into that attack position. But one of the other things that I noticed was how I also felt that I was getting pulled into the front of the bike because of the lowered handlebar position. Now, I'm only 5'11", so I'm not that tall, but the concept here is that you're trying to get more weight over the front of the handlebars and it being more in that attack position. Now, if you're over 6 feet tall, you might actually be thinking, I need to have my handlebars come to me, not me come to the handlebars. And the where that can get a little murky is because the more space that you have away from the triple clamps, which is actually where that control is happening, the less quick the adjustments that you make at the handlebars can then be translated to the front tire. So if you're really tall, you might want to actually look at lowering your foot pegs instead of raising your handlebars if you're wanting a little bit more control at the handlebar position. I do have to admit, these bars are not cheap. They come from Canada, but they're extremely high quality. They're very stout. Over the past 6-7 years, you've seen what I've put this Sherco through, and they have not bent, they have not broken. They are still the same bars that I bought then. And so that tells me that these are some super high quality bars. With the new bike that I'm currently trying to figure out, I do have the first part, and it is a new pair of Astra handlebars. These are the Gemini series, and they are 27 millimeters tall. Doesn't seem like much, but in the long run, I wanted to get as low as I could because of the fact that I've enjoyed these 22 millimeter rise bars as much as I have. You will notice I have a Mako 360. Now, Mako 360 does have lowered perches, so they try to get these as close to stock as possible. Even though I have the 22 millimeter rise and the lowered perches with the Mako 360, it does raise it a couple more millimeters from where it would be if I did not have this. If you're going to be putting steering dampeners, you're going to be putting Mako 360s, those raise your handlebars. We're wanting to keep those handlebars as close to our triple clamps as possible, so all of those movements translate to the front wheel as efficiently as possible. There is a possible cheaper option out there for lowered handlebars. Because of steering dampeners, Pro Taper has made a steering dampener low handlebar, which doesn't have much more of a rise than these bad boys. I believe it is somewhere in the 30s. So if that's something you want to look into and give lowered bars a try, check out those Pro Taper bars. They look to be a little bit cheaper, and they have some of the same characteristics that we're looking for here in these lowered bars. The second part that I immediately noticed an increase in my comfort on the bike, which led to speed and performance, were the Fastway Evo 4 pegs. Now I have the steel ones, and I've also put the F7 cleats on. So they come with kind of these Allen wrench screws that you can put on, use some Loctite, and you can kind of have them at different heights because they have a short and a long. I got the F7 cleats because I wanted to have as much perch as possible. I wanted grip, 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 grip. I got these because with any Fastway pegs, they have a stock position, but also a lowered and back position. And that's what I got them for. I wanted to get these for the lowered back position and the stoutness of the peg. So with that lowered back, it roughly comes to around 10 millimeters lower and 10 millimeters back. Why did I do this? I noticed that as I was trying to figure out how there's ways I could try to get faster, that my feet were actually catching on the stock pegs a lot. And this caused crashes. This caused me to kind of miss shifts. It would typically pull me away from what I needed to do, which was ride as humanly fast as possible for myself in the moment. So I wanted to see if by lowering and moving the pegs back, I got into a better riding position and I would get stuck on the pegs less. That's exactly what happened, and I'm excited for that because I needed to fix and solve that solution. So even though I put the F7 cleats on, which are their grippiest cleats, I actually got caught on my pegs less because of the position. Now the secondary thing, which was great, was I could actually now pinch the bike more. Why do I need to be able to pinch the bike? Pinching the bike is where all of our control comes from. If we're always sitting or always just using our arms to pull ourselves or push ourselves away from the handlebars, we are not leveraging our largest muscle group, which is our quads and our hamstrings, our legs. So if I could get into a position where I could pinch the bike better, stronger, have more control, I'd be more comfortable. It'd put me in that more aggressive attack position by pinching with my legs, and that will have increase in speed, of course, and then increase in performance. One of the features of the Fastway pegs that I haven't messed with, but I do need to mention, is this camber kind of tilt option that they have. So there's a bolt that you can use that can run it as flat as you can get it, right, towards your frame, or you could use some washers with this camber bolt and it will actually tilt the pegs up a little bit. Now, why might you use this? You might use this if you're looking to try to pivot your legs in, kind of tilt your legs a little bit so that it makes it easier for you to pinch your bike. It is something to play with. I just haven't ever got into it because I haven't felt the need for it. But to be able to bring you guys more information, it is something that I plan on doing on the next bike because I do plan on using Fastway pegs again on that 2025 build. Well, the bike for me for 2025, that doesn't mean that it's gonna be a 25. Lots of emails happening right now. The third part that we're going to talk about is the ARC levers. I put these levers on the Sherco in mid-summer, and it was insane how quickly I felt much more comfortable on the bike, and I was able to attack the trail a ton harder. The levers that I replaced were the Midwest Mountain Engineering levers, and so they were very short and very fat, and I replaced those because of all the issues that I started having earlier in the year, starting at the Red Canyon Enduro. I did a little bit of research and realized that those actually, with bad adjustment, can actually mess with the clutch, which was part of the problem that was happening. But also, the more I dug into some of the research, the less people thought that those were actually good levers for aggressive riding. So I was like, you know what, let's try something different. After some research, I landed on the ARCs, but also if you look around the paddocks, the ARC levers are seen everywhere, and so I thought that that was a good reason to go ahead and check them out. I did have to figure out if I needed to move the actual perches in or out, so I found about a 1 mile loop to make sure that I could start to do that. Every time that I was like, nope, this is not the right spot, I would stop right then and there, I would move them in or out, and I would start to play and adjust. Once I got them in a good position there, then it was about reach. And the adjustability here on the ARC levers is pretty infinite, right? They've got a little screw with 4 tabs, and that tab fits into that mounting part of the perch of the lever. And within that, then they have a lock nut. So you just take it off, turn it just a little bit if you want to go for big adjustment, or turn it like micro millimeters of an adjustment if you want to go for that. It was awesome to be able to get that finite placement that I wanted there with the levers. Now the lock nut was a little bit weird. It would loosen all the time. Asking you guys there on Instagram, use a wrench, use some blue Loctite, or Josh Toth said that KTM used to do a dab of silicone. All of those are good options. I went for the wrench, just cranked that guy a little bit, and I haven't had any issues with that lock nut since. I went with the OEM length, which they're calling the shorty. So they do actually have a longer version, but the ones that I have here are OEM length. They also have a standard and a skinny option. So that's the actual fatness of the lever itself. I went with the standard. There is a skinny. I didn't want to go with the skinny because I wanted to try something that was closest to OEM as possible. I love the choice that I made with the ARC levers. I looked around and the ASV levers look to be a little bit cheaper if you're looking at their base model. So one that's closest to what you see here on the ARC levers. If you've got other options or levers that have worked for you, obviously let us know in the comments. I want to make sure you hear the difference in when I say comfort versus being comfortable. A lot of the parts made me more comfortable on the bike so that I could be more aggressive. They weren't parts that made me work on my comfort on the bike. When I'm racing, we're needing to stand up, we're needing to attack, we're needing to be aggressive. If you're getting a taller seat because you want a more seated position, or if you're raising your bar height because you want to not bend over as much, you aren't going to be as aggressive. You're not going to be in a riding position that is helpful for performance. I just want to make sure that you guys understand the difference there. If you've got questions, ask them in the comments. Comfortable. We're not looking only for comfort. These parts were parts where I spent money and immediately felt the rewards in speed and performance, and even saw it in the results. That doesn't happen often. So that's why I wanted to bring these parts up to y'all. Have you had any parts that have done that for you? Or are there places that you have felt uncomfortable on the bike, or places that you feel might be holding you back? Let's discuss those in the comments, because I'm not telling you just go buy these parts, you'll be faster. Because you might be having different issues than I was. So these 3 parts may not be the exact parts that you need to feel more comfortable, to be able to ride more aggressive, and to be able to attack the trail more. I'm working on the bike for 2025. It might be new to me, it might be brand new. None of us know. That's part of the fun of the shenanigans here at Seat Time. But I definitely want to know if you guys have any questions. I want to discuss those in the comments. If you have any parts that have stood out, make sure that you put those there. Subscribe to Seat Time, give it a thumbs up, support us at shop.seattime.co. If you want to do any of that, of course, the Keep Endurance in Enduro shirt. It's one of my faves. You should pick one up. It would be amazing. If we do not get a chance to see you on the trail, we will see you here on the internet. Enjoy getting seat time. We'll see you for the next one. Peace.